Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, was a notorious serial killer who terrorized the Los Angeles area during the mid-1980s. He was responsible for at least 13 murders, 11 sexual assaults, and a number of burglaries and other crimes. His brutal and seemingly random attacks left the community in fear for over a year until his eventual capture. Ramirez's crimes. Ramirez's reign of terror began in June 1984 when he attacked 79-year-old Jenny Winkau in her home in Glassell Park, Los Angeles. Ramirez entered the home through an unlocked window and brutally beat and stabbed Winkau to death. Over the next year, Ramirez continued his rampage, attacking and murdering victims in their homes throughout Los Angeles and the surrounding areas. His victims ranged in age from 6 to 82 and included both men and women. Ramirez's attacks were particularly brutal, often involving sexual assault, mutilation, and torture. He would typically break into homes at night and surprise his victims as they slept. He would then bind and gag them before subjecting them to horrific acts of violence. In many cases, Ramirez would leave behind clues such as shoe prints or fingerprints, but he managed to evade capture for over a year.
Ramirez's capture in August 1985, Ramirez attacked a couple in their home in Mission Viejo, Orange County. The couple managed to fight him off and provide a description to the police. A few days later, Ramirez entered the home of Bill Carnes and his fiancée, Inez Erickson, in the same area. He shot Carnes in the head and raped Erickson before fleeing the scene. Remarkably, Carnes survived the attack and was able to provide a detailed description of Ramirez to the police. This description, along with other evidence left at the scene, led police to identify Ramirez as the Night Stalker. Ramirez's picture was released to the media, and he became one of the most wanted men in America. Despite being on the run, Ramirez continued to carry out attacks. On August 24, he entered the home of Elias and Sakina Abovat in Diamond Bar, Los Angeles, and attacked them with a hammer. The couple managed to fight him off, and Ramirez fled the scene. However, a teenage boy who was staying with the Aboats managed to get a glimpse of Ramirez's car and license plate number. The police were able to trace the car to a nearby motel, where they found Ramirez's fingerprints on the car. They immediately began a massive manhunt, and Ramirez was finally captured on August 31, 1985. He had been trying to steal a car in East Los Angeles when a group of citizens chased him down and held him until the police arrived. Ramirez's trial and death. Ramirez's trial began in July 1988 and was one of the most high-profile trials in California's history. The trial was held in Los Angeles, and Ramirez was charged with 13 counts of murder, 5 counts of attempted murder, 11 counts of sexual assault, and 14 counts of burglary. The trial was delayed several times due to the extensive media coverage and the difficulty of finding an impartial jury. In the end, Ramirez was found guilty on all charges and sentenced to death in November 1989. However, his case was subject to multiple appeals, and he remained on death row for over 23 years. Ramirez died in prison on June 7, 2013, at the age of 53. He had been suffering from health problems related to his long-term drug use and hepatitis C. Ramirez's death was not a result of execution, as he had not been put to death due to the lengthy appeals process. Instead, Ramirez died of complications related to B-cell lymphoma, a type of cancer that affects the immune system. He had been receiving treatment for the cancer while on death row, and his condition had worsened in the months leading up to his death. Ramirez was pronounced dead at Marin General Hospital in Green Bay, California.
Ramirez's death was met with mixed reactions from the public. Some felt that he deserved to die for his heinous crimes, while others felt that his death was too easy and that he should have been made to suffer for his actions. In the end, Ramirez's death brought closure to the families of his victims, many of whom had waited for years to see him brought to justice. Richard Ramirez's reign of terror is one of the most infamous chapters in the history of Los Angeles. His brutal attacks and seemingly random selection of victims left the community in fear for over a year. Although Ramirez was eventually caught and brought to justice, his crimes continue to haunt the families of his victims to this day.